everyone, it's Ms. Langrage here. I'm going to make a small video to show you or to remind you how to graph a line when we want to use the x-intercept and the y-intercept to help us graph it. First, let us remember what an intercept is. An x-intercept is when you are touching the x-axis, and a y-intercept is when you're touching the y-axis. So I could have a line that goes through x is equal to 2 and y is equal to -4. My line would look like this. And you would have x-intercept 2, 0, and y-intercept 0, -4. Don't forget that we always write our points x, y, x number first and then y number. Since this 2 is on the x-axis, it comes first, and then we put the 0. And since this -4 comes on the y-axis, it needs to come second, so my -4 is second and my 0 is first. What's interesting is that when you have an x-intercept, the y is equal to 0. And when you have a y-intercept, the x is going to be equal to 0. So we're going to use that fact to help us graph this equation right here. So we could, if we wanted, we could change this to y is equal to mx plus b by moving the 2x over and dividing by 3, but that seems like a lot of work. So what I want to do is I want to first find the x-intercept. I want to find out when the graph is going to touch the x-axis. So remember, if it's touching the x-axis, that means the y is going to be equal to 0. So I'm going to take my equation and I'm going to copy it down again. But I'm going to take my y, and I know that if I have an x-intercept, my y is equal to 0. So I have 2x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 18. 3 times 0 is just 0. This stuff here just vanishes when I put a 0 in, because 3 times 0 is 0. So all I have left is 2x is equal to 18, which means that x is equal to 18 divided by 2, or x is equal to 9. That means that it touches the x-axis at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here is my x-intercept. Now what I need to do is I need to find my y-intercept. I need to find when this line, when the equation is going to touch my y-axis. So if I'm touching my y-axis, I know that the x value is going to be 0, because if I went up here to the x-axis above the y-intercept, right there is x is equal to 0. So I'm going to write the equation down one more time. I'm going to write down finding the y-intercept this time. And I am going to copy down the equation. 2x plus 3y is equal to 18. This time, when you have a y-intercept, your x is equal to 0. So I'm going to take this, cross this off, and put a 0 here. That means 2 times 0 plus 3y is equal to 18. 2 times 0 is just 0. It disappears. So I have 3y is equal to 18. Y is going to be equal to 18 divided by 3. Y is equal to 6. My y-intercept is 6, which means I need to draw my line connecting the y-intercept and the x-intercept. Let's get a ruler and do that now. I've used my ruler. I've connected the y-intercept and the x-intercept, and I have a linear graph. A graph that goes through y is equal to 6, and a graph that goes through x is equal to 9. What I need to do now is I want to see if I can draw a second line on the same graph. Let's try that now. Let's pretend I was given a second equation. This time, 2x plus y is equal to 8. What I would like you to do now is I would like you to pause my video. I would like you to use the trick for finding the x-intercept and the trick for finding the y-intercept, and see if you can graph this equation and graph this equation on the same graph, and see if you can find out where the two lines touch. I have done the same work for the second equation. I want to find the x-intercept. So I crossed off the y and put a 0. I did my algebra and I got x is equal to 4. And then I wanted to find the y-intercept. And so that means I had to cross off the x and make it equal to 0, which means y is equal to 8. So I'm going to plot those two intercepts on the graph. So x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 8. X is equal to 4 is right here, and y is equal to 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect those two dots or two intercepts, and hopefully we can find out when these two lines intersect. I've connected the intercepts, and what you can see is that it looks like the 2 points connect at this point. And when I go down, it looks like the x number is 1.5, and when I go across, the y value is 5. It looks like they intercept at 1.55. My x goes first, and then my y. If you wanted to check, you could put the x and y into the first equation. You could put the x and y into the second equation, like we did in lesson number 1 in the Solving Systems of Equations video. So you could try that, and I'm pretty sure that when you sub in 1.5 for the x and 5 for the y in the second equation, you'll get 8. And if you sub in 1.5 for the x and 5 for the y in the first equation, you'll get 18. I hope this video helps you understand how you can use this new method of graphing lines using the x-intercept and the y-intercept, how that can be useful for you to find the solution to the system of equations.